I can't believe it. Are we happy? Are we not happy? How conflicting is that? I thought I'd just do a little podcast for you guys. It's only been a couple of hours since the match finished, and I just thought I'd put out a bit of a reaction to the game. I did post for your questions and say there'd be a podcast out Monday morning. There still will be a podcast out Monday morning, but I don't know. I thought I'd do a quick reaction. I'm excited. I want to get a podcast out to you guys, and I want to talk about it. And you guys have written heaps of comments and things like that into the Instagram and the Facebook page. So I'm going to read all of those out just in this episode, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game. We're going to return on the Monday morning with positives, negatives, Sean Alley Club Champ votes, all of that. I think there'll be one of the admins from Closer to a Flag will be joining me as well. So that's going to be a bunch of fun. But I don't know. We're all kind of conflicted, but I think deep down we're all happy right now. So we fall to the Swans by 3 points. Let's discuss how we're meant to be feeling right now. On the positive, as a game, we played fantastically well. I'm going to point out some individual players after this, but just as a team, we were linking up, we were winning possession, we were first to the ball, we had numbers to support, we were running, we were transitioning. Where did that come from? This new coach bounce thing is real. And it shouldn't be real because there's nothing physically there to make that happen. Maybe we should rotate Clarkson and Ratton in week after week so every week we get a new coach bounce. I'm no expert, but that's what it seems like to me. Then on the negative, we lost the game in very controversial circumstances. Let's talk about the ending and then we'll get into the game just to get this bit out of the way. Obviously, umpiring in general in the game was shocking, and we know that every fan thinks the umpires are against their team. The free kicks in this game were pretty lopsided. I think I've got them here. Let me just have a look and see what the free kicks were. Because, I remember watching this and being like, it doesn't seem like, there's lots of free kicks being paid to one team or the other. But there was. So it's 16 to 24 free kicks in Sydney's favour. That's wild. Like, I don't know. It's not often you see it that lopsided. And they always gave free kicks away when we were just getting some momentum. But anyway, we really have no one else to blame than ourselves for giving away that free kick. Is the penalty too harsh? Absolutely. At that moment of the game, do you ever want to see that paid? No. It didn't affect the game. It didn't stop any play. It didn't do anything to disadvantage Sydney. But that's just the rules. It wasn't the umpire's fault that last one was called. But geez, it seems like the footy gods are against us right now, doesn't it? But I'm not feeling awful. And in the context of our season, that was an awesome performance. That is the benchmark. That is what we need to do, minimum. The pressure we put on was unreal, ruthless. We laid tackles. There was always people around the ball to pressure. The intensity was high. Brett Ratton said in his press conference after the game, first 12 minutes, we struggled. We looked like we did the last 7 weeks. But after that, we controlled that game. Obviously, they kept in it and we never kicked away, and we're not good enough to do that just yet, but we controlled that game for 3.5 quarters. The clearances were fantastic. The young players were fantastic. And we have to take this as a positive. Let's forget the result. One step closer to Harley Reid, guys. But seriously, that is an awesome performance, and it almost feels like a win. And yes, that can be considered a bit sad because that's where the club is, but that's where the club is. We all just want to see effort. We want to see heart. We want to see passion for the jumper. And that's what we got. And that's what we got in the form of a future Brownlow medalist, George Wardlaw. What a debut. Was it as good as Sheasel's? I would say on the stats sheet, not as good as Sheasel's, but as an impact, every time that guy touched the ball, something happened. He went and got his own footy. He laid 9 tackles. He goes in hard at that ball, and he's never fumbling over the ball. If he's going in, the ball is at least spilling out somewhere to an advantage of our team. He keeps it in front of him. He's clean. That's the first note I wrote down from watching this game. Wardlaw is clean. It's an exciting time for North Melbourne right now. Just in this isolated incident of this game, I mean, there's a lot of things externally that we know is not great. But what I mean is, look at the 2 draft picks we've got. Look how good Wardlaw was and how consistently good Sheasel's been. And we'll talk about Sheasel in a second. That's the future. That's the future right there. No more of these guys that come on our list, fluff around for a few years, never make it, but get a spot because we're not good. That guy set the tone. George Wardlaw set the tone in that game. Imagine you've been on this list for 3, 4, 5 years and a first gamer is getting his head down, getting the footy, getting it out, exploding, using it cleanly. I'm excited for this guy. That was an awesome performance. So, unreal job, George Wardlaw. Unreal job. We moved Sheasel forward. And how good was it? Yes, we need him in the back line as well. But how good was Sheasel forward? Kicked a couple of goals. He could have kicked one to arguably seal it or make it hard for Sydney at the end, but it's fine because he's getting in those spots. That's the first time he's played forward this year, and look how clean he was. Look how much better the forward entries were when we were kicking to players who were leading, not just bombing it away. We weren't just bombing that in long. And the times that we did, we brought it to ground. We caused a contest and we were first to the ball, which we haven't been for a couple of months. So Harry Shees will take a bow, another brilliant, brilliant game. And look, I could spew on like this forever, but I'm just going to name a few guys who are fantastic today. On the podcast on Monday, we'll go a bit more in depth, but this is just an emotional reaction for you guys. And I hope you're all feeling like this too. But Eddie Ford, what an impact he made. He was so clean. He kicked a couple. Was it 1 or 2? I can't remember, but he made an impact on this game. This is something that other guys we've brought in so far this year haven't been able to do. Other guys we've had playing consistently haven't been able to do. He made an impact. He was good in the air. He was good on the ground. He was clean with the football. He fit in so well. Paul Curtis, what a goal. Goal of the year? Could be. The guy was on the ground when he picks the ball up, stands up, shrugs 1, shrugs 2, and kicks it from the boundary line. That's unreal. What a goal. But he's making an impact around the contest. His pressure was 10 out of 10 tonight. That was last year, Paul Curtis. And this is the thing we've been missing. The pressure, the intensity, and the tackling. We choked the Swans so much. Callum Coleman-Jones. Now, I was screaming for this guy to be in a couple of rounds ago, and I wanted him in at the start of the year. Am I going to toot my own horn there? Yeah, absolutely. What a player. That is exactly what we need presence-wise in the forward line. If we are going to bomb it in long, we need someone who can take a mark. He was pushing up to half forward, pushing up to the wing. He even got down to half back a couple of times to take a mark. We need that outlet, and it can't only be Goldie or nobody. He holds his place. That guy needs to be in the team. And if it's a choice between Comben or Coleman-Jones, I think Coleman-Jones can bring more. But I want Comben in that team. But could Comben play that Mason Wood type role where he's sort of a winger and goes back and goes forward? Anyway, we'll discuss that another time. But Coleman-Jones was fantastic. A couple of average disposals at the start, a couple of turnovers, but he found his way into the game and he contributed so well. Jack Zeeble just continues to be so solid back there, so clean in disposal, such a good mark. he wears his heart on his sleeve, and, you know, he's the epitome of what North Melbourne is. And honestly, it might just be emotion from after the game, and I'm actually really happy even though we lost, but Wardlaw has that Zeeble quality to me. I'm just getting that sense that he's got that shinboner spirit inside of him already. Will Phillips coming back. I thought he was very, very good. Maybe the stats don't explode off the page to you, but once again, around the ball, he was having an impact. We weren't turning the ball over all the time. We did really, really well from clearances this game, and he was in there more often than not. The difference is maybe not necessarily always winning clean possession and transitioning it, but at least we're not turning the ball over now and just letting it go back over our heads in that game anyway, because we might come out next week and be shocking. Who knows? But that's what it's going to be like for the rest of the year. We're just going to turn up on random days. But I thought Will Phillips did very, very well. I definitely questioned his future over the last few weeks, and I haven't really seen it from Will Phillips in the past. Definitely not this year at all. Has he got talent? Absolutely, and he showed the most I've seen for a long time tonight, or this afternoon. So well done, Will Phil. And Bailey Scott. Bailey Scott's another one that I've had no issues with this year, and I think he was a little bit unfairly criticised. He was one of the best on the ground last week against the Power, and a very disappointing day nonetheless. But even the weeks before, I don't know. I've never had a problem with him this season. And same with Paul Curtis, to be honest. You know, the times that they haven't been great, the team hasn't been great. And, you know, those two guys have such potential that you're not dropping them. There's other guys that obviously got dropped that, you know, didn't have that, maybe haven't shown that potential this year, but those guys have for me. So it is what it is. But look, they're just some players I'm going to shout out. There was other ones, but I don't want to go too long here. But overall, I'm really happy with the performance. That was such a fun watch. We were robbed. We're absolutely robbed at the end. But there's so many more positives than negatives to take from this game. So please don't dwell on the result. That was just so much fun, and I hope we bring that more often than not for the rest of the year. Anyway, let's get into the questions, because this is meant to be a short and sharp one, but I feel like I always say that, and it doesn't end up going that way. So we're going to do the viewer questions now. So thank you to everyone who wrote in once again. On Instagram, Further North Pod. On Facebook, Further North Podcast. Follow them all. I try and post good things sometimes, but I do forget and get lazy. But look, I'm only human. All right, so let's read out the comments. So we've got Reese.Delaney87, Wardlaw the Toyota, Sheasel the Rolls Royce, the Toyota. I like it, actually. And of course, there is Eddie the Mazda. Beautiful. Unreal. Bailey Tyson _ heartbreaking loss, but finally saw the ruthless attack on the ball. Wardlaw and Shees. Wow. Couldn't agree more. David Whitley. Happy to get old watching these two smash Sydney for the next 20 years. Yeah, I agree. We got a glimpse of the future tonight, guys. Okay, before I read out any more, this is the other thing I wanted to say. It's the difference between drafting a Sheasel and a Wardlaw, and they come in and they make instant impact. You can just see it. You can see they've got it. And not to be mean or anything, but guys like Marnie and Turner and Howe, who was fine, but they're not the guys. They're not going to be the guys. Can they maybe play a game and contribute? Well, no, maybe Howe can. Howe was fine, but they've got it, and that's the difference with what we're drafting. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. _Ben Hunter _ we'll win 3 flags, but we'll lose 2 grand finals due to umpires. Jeez, I hope not. Hey, but we're up there again, so I guess I can't complain. Michael _ Water went to the game. Really good performance from a young team. Hopeful for the future. Yep, absolutely, Michael. Absolutely. Cooper Smith with a TH at the end. No, with 2 T's. Strange. You mean there's a typo? Anyway, thanks, Cooper. Wardlaw is something else. Absolutely. So competitive and wants it more than most of our senior players. Yes, that's what I meant about him setting the tone, and everyone else needs to follow what he's doing. He's that Jack Zeeble type in the middle. You know, if Jack Zeeble's in the middle, I feel like people play harder. just like Cunnington had that effect. Wardlaw's got it. He's just got it. Brad.Edwards7528 just says promising, and I couldn't agree more. Gems _. These two are the future at North. She's to play more forward, and Wardlaw just, wow, he's electric. Absolutely. So we've got North Pod Show, another North podcast. So if you haven't checked that one out, go and listen to his podcast. And North Pod Show says we're going to win plenty of clearances in the next few years with LDU, Wardlaw, Simpkin, and Wheelfill. Absolutely. You run a Zerha and a Paul Curtis, Tom Powell through there. And I think, yeah, our midfield does look very, very good. The ruck situation is something to address. I'm not sold on Jerry, but look, we're being positive right now. Arberk8, why does it feel like the world has its hands around my throat? Oh, my God. Maybe I'll message you after, Arberk, and make sure everything's okay. It does feel like there's a bit of a stranglehold on North Melbourne right now is what I'm hoping you're meaning. And, yeah, look, we've got to ride this season out, guys. Clearly, everything's getting thrown at us. This is a moment we've got to live in for at least a few days just to have that moment of peace and tranquility. So everyone keep your mental health stable. Jared Andrew, also keen to hear if anyone takes the hit for the interchange blunder. Look, I think it'd be harsh. I mean, that's the first time I've really seen that. I don't feel like I want North to be the club that would get rid of someone for one mistake. I know it was a big costly error, and if we were pushing for finals, then maybe. But look, if anything, if we win the number one pick by, one game, then maybe that person who made that mistake's a hero because we'll draft a 5-time Brownlow medalist. Who knows? Alex Hudson, feel for the players, but in an effort like that, to be shot in the foot by poor management. Very, very true. Once again, I don't want anyone at the club to come under fire for that. If anything, you've made a mistake, get better and move on. It hurts though, doesn't it? But I hope the team takes that as a positive. I'm sure guys like Zeebs and Jai Simpkin are sort of telling those guys that. The other point I wanted to make on Jai Simpkin as well, which is the last thing I'll say before I stop, so I can continue doing this. That was a captain's performance from Jai for me. He set the tone early, kicked a couple of goals. He was doing great out of the midfield. Maybe trailed off towards the end, but he'd already set that tone. Wardlaw was keeping it going, and the group got around it. So a fantastic, not redemption, but a response from Simpkin after his poor performance last week. James _Trotter99, CJ and Jerry will definitely be our ruck combo in years to come. I don't disagree with that. I thought CCJ was decent in the ruck, and I didn't think he was bad in the ruck last year. Jerry needs to prove it to me. Every year he's meant to have a great preseason, and look, he's been unlucky with injury, but I hope Jerry is good. All I've ever seen of him is, fumbling the ball and dropping marks. But look, I hope I'm wrong with that. I hope he's the greatest ruckman of the modern era. Jared Andrew, good to see what we can do with a young side. Wardlaw put on some great tackles, absolutely. Dave.I.M, absolutely gutted and excited at the same time. Wardlaw set the tackle/pressure standards to play for Roos. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Bryden Isles, friend of the show here, albeit the end, that's the standard. Sheer mongrel, grit and spirit. Can't the mighty Roos. Absolutely. That's what we're all feeling like right now. And I think, the standards were set by certain individuals on that field today, and that's what we need every week. Dylan Fell 5. Simply inspiring from both Wardlaw and Sheasel. He's meaning because I posted a photo of him. Showed true shinbone spirit out there all day. Yeah, that's our future. That's our future for sure. Liam Watto, best performance of the season. Wardlaw, Scott, and Sheasel were incredible. I actually kind of think it was our best performance. That's a great point. It was our best performance of the season. It was great to get those 2 first wins. We really grinded them out, but just sheer flow of the game, we looked unstoppable there for a couple of quarters. We were just transitioning the ball out of the middle into our forward line with ease. And Wardlaw was a massive part of that. And the last on Instagram, Harvey_Sutherland, corruption. Just straight corruption. We do have ourselves to blame for that one, unfortunately. But the free kick count says otherwise. There was definitely corruption there. So let's move over to Facebook. We've got Benny Dale, Wardlaw to Sheasel, Sheasel to Wardlaw. Can happily get used to hearing that for the next 10 plus years. How good would that be? Matthew Hagiasis. Oh, Matthew, I'm so sorry, man. I'm also tired. I've been up since 6 a.m. Matthew Hagiasis. Future is still bright. Things will get better. Could not agree more. And this is, look, a win would have made it even better, even sweeter. But this sort of performance, it really makes the last few weeks not worth it, but it's a little bit of reward for our patience and our continued optimism. James Duke, Wardlaw is for sure the person to continue Cunnington's guts and determination. Couldn't agree more with that. Sheasel, absolute star, which we already knew, and Bailey Scott coming of age. Hopefully this is the breakout where he becomes what he has always promised. We looked damn good. Only out should be Hall and Howe. We'll talk about that on Monday. Jared Gilbert. Wardlaw and Sheasel are our Petrarca and Oliver. Hopefully. Not yet, but hopefully. Time to draft some key positions. Couldn't agree with that more. You know what? I keep talking about his Harley Reid thing, and if we get number 1, absolutely draft him, but I would not be against just drafting key. If we get 2, pick 3, whatever, get key position players. Please. We need them so desperately. What else did you say here? Sorry, Jared. A special shout out to Scott. Never doubted him. Best gut runner at the club. You and me both, mate. I've been talking up Scott all season when everyone else was saying, no, drop him. Looks like we're the only 2 in the Bailey Scott camp, my friend. Tori McGaffin. What a game by all the up-and-coming kids. Most had a significant impact on the game and the pressure from Wardlaw. Wow. Absolutely. The kids did it tonight. It wasn't Goldie and Zeeble having to stand up while no one else was contributing. Stephen Dempster. There was so much to like about today. The young kids really stood up and showed a bit. Keep up the effort, and there's a lot to look forward to. Absolutely. Alexander McNear. Boys showed a ton of promise. Wardlaw needs more games. Well, yeah, hopefully he gets more games, but his performance was fine today. Scott, clear best player today, followed by CCJ. Absolutely. It's strange watching a game and not having 3 to 4 names that deserve to be dropped. Yeah, fantastic call. Noah Wiggins. You'll find out who I want to be dropped on Monday. Noah Wiggins. This is honestly the most excited I've been for North in a while. The thought of LDU, Simpkin, Shees, Wardlaw, and possibly Thomas coming back in, games like that restore your faith in the rebuild process. Absolutely. And Brett Ratton did talk about Taron Thomas saying the press conference saying he's available for selection as of next week. Will he be selected is another thing, but I don't know. Keeping Shees forward and adding Taron Thomas off that half back line, juicy. Where are we up to here? Bradley Turner, so proud of the boys today. Couldn't agree more, Bradley. Justin Smith, last year's trade has worked out well for us. Yes, I was talking about this at the barbershop today with a lot of people, that Jason On-Francis, he is playing well, and I'm not going to try and pretend he's not, okay? I'm not that delusional, but getting Sheasel, Wardlaw, and another pick from Port, all for him, yeah, we won the deal. Paul Broadbent, the AFL and the umpires won't have the power to affect North Melbourne results in the future. They'll be too good. Give us your worst. And they do. I do agree with that. It does feel like everything's against us at the moment, but that free kick count was not good. Marcus Gatt, I'm unsure of which of them to kiss, if not both. Kiss them both, mate. Kiss them both. Glenn Lavender, regular commenter here. Care little about the result, even though I can't talk from shouting. Yeah, that's why we're typing here, guys. Rest your voices. This is line in the sand stuff for the effort required. That should be the minimum standard, absolutely. It is hard to fathom why they can produce sometimes and not others. I think we've just got to put it down to age, don't we? Age, and the younger players stood up, and I think that got everyone else around it. But yeah, you need to set an example, and once these guys get 50-plus games into them, we could be a scary unit. It's crazy how we're talking right now, how we could all be great within 2 or 3 seasons now, as last week it was going to take a decade to rebuild this club. So strap in for the ride for the rest of the season, guys, because we might come out and get done by 100 next week. You don't know, but this is the thing with this sort of process, you know. Flash Nicole, they looked fantastic together, Wardlaw and Sheasel. First gamer, George Wardlaw, certainly didn't look out of place. Absolutely, he fit straight in. The Wardlaw sensation is real. Andrew Blake says that one. The Wardlaw sensation is real, and I'm on the hype train for Wardlaw, and we all are. Jaden Pritchard, Paul Curtis currently has the best fend-off in the comp. Tell me I'm wrong. I cannot tell you you're wrong because you're 100% accurate, Jaden. And, oh, no, this is the name I screwed up and someone messaged me to help me say it. I'm going to butcher it again. Giuliano Maratore, I think. Please let me know if I said that correctly. That hurt, but all positives from that preference. I assume you meant performance. I hope it gave Clarko a smile. Go the room, up the room. And I reckon Clarko was watching on. I'd like a little photo of Clarko with a thumbs up and just send it out to the socials. Would be nice. But anyway, that's all your questions, guys. Thank you so much for writing in and sharing your thoughts. And yeah, we will be back on Monday with one of the admins from North Melbourne closer to a flag. And that's about it. A little bit longer of a reaction than I thought it would be. There's a lot to talk about, and we will dive in more on this sort of stuff. We'll be back with positives, negatives, back and forth discussion with the unknown admin. And yeah, we'll dissect it a lot more, and we'll get their thoughts on things. So thank you for tuning into this one. I'm happy. I think I'm happy. I wish we won, but we've got to take these wins, guys. So all aboard the Sheasel train, or stopping all stations to Wardlaw and Premiership City. Exciting times, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah, get ready for another pod on Monday morning. Bye.